Hello, Wesley Seminary family. This is Dr. Lenny Luchetti coming at you with a devotional thought. These are obviously crazy days we're living in, and the world right now is full of pain. Lots of people suffer right now with illness, but also with grief and anxiety and fear and depression. And if we know anything from history, we know that God and the church seem to be at their best when the world suffers most. We are always with people in pain, always. People who are battling cancer, fighting an addiction, wrestling with depression, trying to overcome grief. So this is not new territory for us entirely. And there are a couple things we need to keep in mind, a couple of pain points. I've developed a theology of pain not by doing research in a library, but by doing ministry in the local church. And so have you. So here are some things we realize in the context of doing ministry over time with people in pain. Number one is, first pain point is, God is not to blame for pain. Read the book of Genesis. God created a world that was perfect, where there wouldn't be any disease or death. But he gave us free will, and the human race decided to use that freedom not to entirely love God, but at times to defy God. And the harmony between humanity and God was broken. The harmony between human beings was broken. The harmony between humanity and the rest of the cosmos was broken. And now we have disease and death and decay. The cosmos has been corrupted. But that's not God's fault. That's not the world God intended. God is not to blame for pain, and we have to just keep that in mind. The other pain point is that God is with us in our pain. Read the book of Hebrews. The book of Hebrews talks about a high priest, Jesus, who is able to help those who suffer because he himself suffered. We don't have a high priest who's unable to empathize with us in our struggle, but one who can because he struggles with us. We have an empathic God, a God who not only feels for us, but who feels with us. You know, the gods of most other religions tend to be aloof and far removed from the pain and the angst of the human condition, but not the Christian God who took on flesh, blood, and bone to suffer with us so that he might save us. Third pain point I learned in the context of doing ministry is that God redeems our pain. Read the book of Acts. In the book of Acts, as you know, the early church was being persecuted fiercely by the Roman government and by the Jewish religious leaders. And what looked like a real problem, persecution, actually scattered the church and spread the gospel to the ends of the earth. God didn't cause the persecution of the church, but he found a way to redeem it. And what God did with persecution in the first century, he will find a way to do with this pandemic in the 21st century. I don't know how he'll redeem it. Again, he didn't cause it, but I believe God will find a way to milk this thing for good. And then the fourth and final pain point I want to remind us of is that God eradicates our pain. Read the book of Revelation. The last two chapters of the Bible, Revelation 20 and 21, talk about a time when God himself will be with us again, like he was in the garden of Genesis 1 and 2. And he will be so close to us, he can wipe every tear from our eyes. And there will be no more pain. There will be no more death, no more mourning, no more crying, no more pain. For the one seated on the throne, Christ the Lamb, said, I am making all things new. It's Christ, not COVID-19. It's Christ who gets the final word, not cancer. It's Christ. And we who lead the church get to marshal the troops in proclaiming Jesus Christ has overcome the trouble of the world. Let's remember this. Love you guys. God bless. Bye-bye.